Well, as you may or may not have seen, the Colts got some devastating news on this Tuesday morning and the first day of the new week. What's going on? It's Elijah from Sports Talk Indy, where we cover all things Colts every single day. And if you've been following along on Twitter or you've seen maybe some other people post it, Juju Brents has suffered a catastrophic knee injury and will be out for the remainder of the season. We are being told from reports that it is not an ACL tear, but they are not quite sure what exactly. They're sure, but it's not been reported exactly what the injury was that warranted an already end of season diagnosis. But it does seem as though the Colts are going to be without their up and coming cornerback, who had a good game on Sunday. He and Jalen Jones actually weren't as bad as they were potentially projected to be. He even had the almost interception on CJ Stroud. But we will be without Juju Brents for another long period of time. There are some people within the organization that do believe that he could potentially come back in potentially December, that mid-December mark, but don't hold your breath on that. So what are the Colts to do now? This is obviously not at all where you wanted to go, especially coming off the loss. And one of the two people who actually didn't have a terrible game is now the guy that you're looking at like, oh, we have to replace. And this is why I think so many Colts fans throughout this offseason. Now, I'm not a GM. I have no intentions of ever becoming a GM. I know I'm not even qualified. But I am saying this. The Colts have been asked over and over, why not add depth? We have 10 defensive linemen. Why are we not adding depth in the cornerback position? But now we are faced with one of our two guys who we were hoping to really take a jump this season. Now we are left with one of them just gone, like in a snap, an instant. Ian Rappaport tweeted this out today. So it was literally the first day coming back to practice, and something happened. We're still not sure what exactly the incident was that declared this injury so suddenly. It wasn't even like he's being carted off. It's this. It was immediate. Juju Brents is out for the season. And like I said, at best case scenario, maybe late December, but they did place him on the injured reserve. So they have the corresponding roster moves, right? That's the next thing is what do we do now? How do they fix this? So here's what the Colts have done, and then I'm going to give you what the Colts can do. So the first thing that they did was they signed Chris Lamons to the 53-man roster from the practice squad. Now, Chris Lamons, if you've known, they signed him he was there last year, but he was on the Chiefs, won a Super Bowl with them, and then was on the Colts for a period last year, didn't have many games started, but has been a guy that he knows the system, he knows the organization. He has 4 years experience, he's 28 years old, and I'm trying to pull up his stats here. It's nothing crazy by any means. Chris Lamons, I don't know if it's Lamons or Lamons, Lammons, but he was drafted by the Dolphins and then played for Kansas City for 3 seasons and then played for the Colts last year. He had 4 games last year. He had 2 solo tackles and a pass defended last year. He had 3 with the Dolphins in his rookie season. So 4 total, 1 interception total. So nothing really jumps off the page as this being the long-term solution. So there are some options available in free agency. Obviously, there's still some available via trade, though the Colts don't seem to be the type. They like the guys they got. They have depth at this position. That's what Chris Ballard's been saying this entire offseason. And so I would not expect a big move coming from them. But there have been some corresponding moves as far as the practice squad goes, but nothing of note. I'm pulling this up. I had it up just a second ago, but I lost it. But the Colts did sign David Long to their practice squad. This was actually last week. So before any of this happened, David Long, if you've known, he's bounced around quite a bit. He was drafted by the Rams in the 3rd round of the 2019 draft. And then, like I said, kind of the same story with Layman's, really bounced around. He was on the Packers last season. He had 3 games last year. He did start 16 games twice with the Rams. He had 36 tackles one season. So he has had a couple of really of decent seasons for a cornerback. But again, this isn't the long-term solution. So the immediate fix fix per se is that they are going to be elevating Dallas Flowers to he was a healthy scratch on Sunday because they wanted more of the special teams guys, specifically in Samuel Womack, and now it is going to be Dallas Flowers. Dallas Flowers is going to be the solo cornerback on one side, opposite of Jalen Jones. Likely, I would expect to see Jalen Simpson also get an opportunity to come back and to be able to play. We saw that Jalen Carley's had a fairly decent game as far as it can go. I mean, this was a run defense that was almost bottom in the league, and then points allowed they were dang near, I think, bottom 5 in the league. I think they were 27th in points allowed, only to be preceded by teams like the Panthers. So not a company that you really want to be in right now for this Colts defense. So this was a Colts defense that had very few good moments. Leatu Latu had 5 QB pressures, and obviously they did get good pressure on CJ Stroud. But then this run defense was abysmal. And your safeties were your leading tacklers. They had a combined 25 tackles between the two, which is a good game for those two, but you don't want your safeties to be leading in tackles. And so this is a team that this is a team that was already having to figure it out, having to go back to the drawing board. It's not working is what basically had to have been said in that meeting. And yet, one of your 2 players that you bet you put all the chips in, you said, this is the guy. We're not signing a veteran quarterback. We like the guy we got. That guy is Juju Brents. And now Juju Brents is gone. He's gone for the season yet again. He was off and on last season for quite a bit. I mean, this is a second-round pick, has so much promise when he's on the field, has potential to really be there. And now we are looking at him being off for the season, and now it is going to come down to Dallas Flowers. And Dallas Flowers has shown a lot of promise last season. He showed a lot of good and then was out with, I believe, a torn Achilles was his injury, but he was out for a season. But he showed a lot of promise on special teams and showed a lot of promise in the coverage. And now it's going to be on him. He did not have a good preseason, and he did not have a good training camp, hence the reason he was a healthy scratch on Sunday. So now it's going to come down to Samuel Womack III and Dallas Flowers. Like I said, there will be some corresponding roster moves. David Long might get the opportunity to come up. And then there's some options that I think the Colts should take. I kind of hinted at this earlier. But there's 2 cornerbacks on the market right now that I think would be decent enough and could actually be good. The first one is J.C. Jackson, 29-year-old cornerback. And you probably remember him from his time with the New England Patriots. He actually looked really good with the Patriots. He had a season with 9 interceptions, a season with 8 interceptions, and then he was traded to the Chargers. He signed a free agent deal with the Chargers, of which he did nothing. He had 5 games played in one season and 2 games played in the next, and then was dropped by the Chargers, traded for by New England. And now he kind of sits there and didn't do a lot last season, but he is available via free agency. And so now we're looking at potentially he could be an option. There's also another guy who has had a fairly decent career. I mean, you're at this point in the season's already started. You're not going to get a lot of guys available in free agency. Justin Simmons obviously is safety, but he's gone. And you're looking at other guys. Stephon Gilmore was there. You had Dory Jackson was there. You had so many options, and yet now you are without anyone. So Kelvin Joseph is another one that's available. Those are really the 2 notable names that I found that were still available in free agency. I might be missing some, but those that are known are Kelvin Joseph and J.C. Jackson. Those are the 2 guys that are still available. And who knows, maybe we can get Micah Abraham if he's not currently on the practice squad of the Broncos, or maybe Jalen Simpson or someone along those lines. But for right now, it seems as though the Colts front office is going to be scrambling to try and find a suitable replacement for Juju Brents, who's going to be big shoes to fill. Juju was really starting to become a budding cornerback and really starting to kind of move forward in a good direction. And now we're set trying to once again pick up the pieces again because we didn't add any depth in this position, or didn't add enough depth, I should say. We added some depth, but definitely not enough. And so it's going to be very interesting to see what the Colts do in the coming days to try and fix this massive loss that they are facing now with Juju Brents being out for the season.